All right, so Kawasaki 140R, gonna change the oil. First, you start by removing the dipstick. This has something to do with letting the pressure run through. And then we're gonna go to the other side and using a 17mm ratchet, or with a ratchet, we're gonna open up this bolt down here. So this is a 2021 model, so you do need an adapter or an extension in order to get access to the bolt. And make sure you have your drip pan underneath before you start.
For deep sockets.
You could also wear gloves while doing this. We're just gonna let that flow. Okay, when it's just about done, it pretty much turns to nothing. And then when you put the bolt back in, you torque it to 13 pound-feet. 13 foot-pounds.
We're doing this side.
So I just want to point out that the oil bolt is on the left side with the kickstand, and the filter is going to be on this side where there's not a kickstand, and it's these 3 bolts that need to come out, and when you reinstall it, this has to be facing up. And these are 8mm bolts. So your ratchet set, you need a 17mm and an 18mm to complete this job. So use the ratchet so far, and then you just loosen them, and then you can do it with your hands. And this is the actual filter. And you gotta be careful. On Brian's bike, there was a spring. Apparently mine does not have said spring.
It's on the cover right here.
Oh, thanks, babe. And then you pop in the filter.
Hang on, let's get this.
So this is a close-up of the filter. So we've only had one ride on these. I don't think it'll focus. But you're supposed to change them to get any metal filings out. I don't think it'll focus. But there's stuff down in there.
Jeez.
So Brian got the K&N air filter, or fuel oil filter, because why not? And then there's the gasket.
Maybe a couple minutes it runs where it doesn't get to it. And
so he installed this rubber seal back into the, I'm going to call this a lid, and put a little bit of oil around the seal. And then you line it back up. Oh, that does not line up, babe.
Do you have the arrow up?
Yeah, I do. But the filter didn't go in.
Well, there's a spring on the back.
Maybe it just needs brute force. Is that what you're saying?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, brute force. And then you just do the reverse of what you did and put the bolts back in. By hand at first and then with the wrench. And I think they're called torque wrenches if you have the fancy ones. I just call them a ratchet.
Everyone should have one if you're going to do your own work.
And this engine, if you read the manual, takes 1.16. Didn't read the manual, Googled it. but this is a quart, so it's going to take this whole bottle plus a little bit. So this is motorcycle oil. It's 10W40. It's for 4 strokes. So this is the oil we got.
Take so much oil.
Okay, so now I started the engine. I let it run just for a couple seconds. 30 seconds. And now we're going to remove the dipstick. Let's see if I can do this one-handed. Oh, you over tightened it, babe. Can you come remove the dipstick? Too tight for me. I don't have oil on my fingers. Thank you. And then you wipe it on a, whoops, can't even see what I'm doing, clean shop towel. And I'm gonna see if you can read this. Where's the window? See if it'll focus. Nice, babe. It won't focus, but there's lines on here, and if you could read it, there's X's, and if it's above the X, then it's too high. Let's see how he fared. I'm gonna screw it back in, and then pull it back out. Similar to how you check it on a car. The 230 has a window, and you just look through the window. So, actually it looks low. So we're going to try running it again. He thinks I need to run it for a few minutes versus a few seconds. I don't know if you can see the glimmer on the oil, but it's down at the bottom of the dipstick. And it needs to be closer to the X's at the top. Now you can see it. Okay, so I let it run for a few more minutes. We're going to try it again. I thought he put in too much oil, but we'll see how this fares this time. Yeah, and that's up past the X's, so I guess it makes sense to let it run for a few minutes and let the oil work its way through the system. But this actually has too much motor oil because it's above where the X's are. It needs to be below the X's. Okay, so put your dipstick back in there. Be sure to not over tighten. And that's all I got for you today. I'll have to ask Brian if we just got to drain it and do it all over again. Thanks for watching.